Yo, what's up, guys? Paulie TV. We're back. Paulie Malignaggi is back. Healing up from my battle wounds in the BKB fight. We got some amazing fights today. Starting with a rematch of the Fight of the Year contender with Eubank and Benn. Eubankjr and Connor Benn. First fight was super competitive, and again, like I just mentioned, it was a Fight of the Year candidate. It lived up to all the hype. What I liked about the first fight the most was that these guys weren't trying to just live off of their last names. They were actually, looking to honor their last names. And, despite the fact that the fight is made for two guys that may not ever win world championships, the UK public made it a big deal. And these guys actually lived up to the hype. A lot of times we see a lot of fighters try to cash in on their last names and they don't live up to the expectation, or even, you can see they're trying to just milk money for their last name. We've seen that a lot. I mean, Chavez Jr. comes to mind, and there's several others. But these guys actually, are improving fighters, getting better and better. Again, I'm not sure they're going to win world championships. Possibly Connor in a weak welterweight division could. I do think Eubankjr is the better fighter, but he may never win a world championship. In this fight, you got to still consider the scale situation again, Can Connor pull off the upset here? And it would mainly be because, in my opinion, because Eubankjr will be affected by the scale. Of course, the other side of it is Eubankjr is naturally a bigger guy, so of course Connor is going to give no breaks on the scale. Regardless, it's a fight that I'm looking forward to seeing. Big differences from the first fight and second fight. I don't know. I mean, I think Benn has to remain explosive. You can't allow Eubank's jab to sort of offset him. Connor is an explosive fighter. Obviously, not being affected by the scale allows him to remain explosive. And I thought, despite the fact that he's a smaller guy, I thought he was the stronger guy in the first fight as far as the ability to hurt the other opponent. Eubank, again, possibly affected by the scales and whatnot, didn't seem to be able to hurt Connor Benn, and also seemed to feel some of the punches that Connor threw. Remember, Eubank also not that long ago was knocked out by Liam Smith as well. So again, could Eubankjr's chin be sort of betraying him in his later years, which can happen. It's tough one to call, man. I went with Eubank the first time around. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins a rematch, but can you be shocked if Connor wins this battle here and forces a third fight? And hopefully it's another Fight of the Year candidate, man, because these guys again, they've put on and they really deserve praise for their first battle. The undercard also has Catterall and Esman. That's an interesting one, man. Catterall and Esman is a really interesting fight because Catterall is a guy who doesn't throw a lot of punches a lot of times. He sort of diminishes the pace of his fights. He's tricky. He brings you down to that level as well. And Esman is the opposite. Esman is sort of a high energy guy. He knocked off Josh Taylor. He upset him. And, he upset him basically on activity, Granted, it was a fading Josh Taylor, but he upset him basically on activity and basically just on bringing the fight to him and forcing him to fight when he didn't want to fight, which a lot of times happens to older fighters that are starting to fade. They kind of want to fight, and they kind of want to they need to be able to decide when to fight and when to be able to rest, and they use their craftiness to be able to do that. But a stubborn guy like Esman, if he prevents you from doing that, can give an older guy, even a crafty older guy, a lot of trouble. I'm wondering if Esman is really a possible upset pick here in the Catterall fight. I think he could. I really think Esman could pull off the upset here today on this fight, and really start to cement himself in that welterweight division, which again needs some names. It needs some faces. I was very impressed with Tiger Johnson knocking off Nicholas Flores last week on Pro Box TV. So the welterweight division is starting to show some of the names on the come up that may knock off some of these champions. Obviously, Ryan Garcia is in discussions to fight Mario Barrios. That would be Ryan, again, still has a lot to live up to, but if he's a champion in the welterweight division, I do think he brings some name recognition to the division. And who knows, if Connor Benn ends up beating Eubank, you don't even really lose it to Eubank, to be honest. They could probably make that fight in the welterweight title fight, and that would probably be a high-selling affair as well. What do you think of this card, man? I'm happy to see that the rematch is upon us. It really just snuck up on me. I've been preparing for my own fights and getting ready for my own return back to normal life, and And all of a sudden, this fight snuck up on me, and here it is. But I'm happy to be able to watch some good boxing today, and I hope you are too. As far as my recovery, I have a bit of an issue. I'd say it's a slight issue. My eyesight in my right eye is sort of like if you need reading glasses. It's not like, oh, Paulie's blind because I was wearing the eye patch. I was wearing the eye patch mainly to prevent too much sunlight or too much light in general, actually, from hitting the eye, because if the pupil doesn't dilate, the eye doesn't protect itself from too much light. So until I get that back, wearing an eye patch when there's light around me, or even TV lights around me, if I'm doing a TV spot, it's probably best to wear an eye patch. But overall, like right now, I'm not wearing an eye patch. I'm just wearing sunglasses. It's sunny Florida here, so do that. But it's not really the end of the world. I could see fine out of it. It's just again, the pupil's not dilating. I don't know if you guys can see my eyes. My right side, my right pupil does not dilate. I don't know if you see if they look the same, if they're the same. I don't know if they're the same size right now or not. At times they will be the same size if the left eye needs to the left pupil needs to be bigger. But overall, the pupils are not the same size most of the time. I'm trying to drive here and also show you, but if it even does show. Obviously I have some scars here from the fight. Working on those. They're coming along as well, though, so that's it, man. Hope you enjoy the fights tonight, and let me know what you think. Let me know who wins, Conor Benn or Eubankjr. And let me know if you think Esman is a possible upset pick. There's also a Top Rank card later tonight out of Mexico. I know Tubi TV is doing that Top Rank card. Top Rank still has no TV contract, but they're doing a card out of Mexico on Tubi. It's an app called Tubi. I don't know in the UK if you guys have it on Tubi, if you guys are still getting the Top Rank fights on Sky. But here in the US, it'll be on Tubi. That's all for today, guys. I'm Paulie Malignaggi. This is Paulie TV. Hope you are enjoying the fights today. I know I will.